Let's fix it. Oh, okay. Okay. Hey friends, this is wishkotheferret. Thanks for hopping into the ferret den where we're keeping things warm and we're keeping things cozy. Today, Aries, we have a reading for you for May 15th to the 21st. I'll cross this off so I don't say that date by mistake. Okay, so we have a new moon in Taurus coming up on the 19th. I think it could be like the 20th or the 21st or something like that, but check your time zone. There's a new moon coming up this week in Taurus. But as always, Aries, we're just going to jump right into it. So, I just heard someone was like, there's someone on the other side that's like, okay, thank your guides, thank your spirit team, let's get it rolling. So someone's pretty eager to get this started. So drop into your heart space, let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. Sorry, I'm like checking the camera to make sure that I'm not crooked. I may be crooked, and if that is the case, I apologize. Okay, all right, we're just going to dive right into it. So thank you, Archangel Michael, for casting your light of protection around me at this time. And thank you, Spirit Team, Angel Guides, for connecting me with the Aries collective energy. For the suns, the moons, the risings, and anyone who feels called to listen to the Aries messages today. The goal for this reading is to uplift and empower. Thank you for allowing me to articulate the message clearly and for helping Aries make decisions in their lives that are uplifting, empowering. Thank you for helping this reading spark their inner path to the change that they need the most in their lives right now. Let's see what's going on this week. I'm hearing the term Spirited Away. Some of you could actually really like that movie, Spirited Away. For others of you, I quite literally feel like you have been, I don't know, spirited away, like quite literally, just like you're like running away with spirit or something. I don't know. There is something going on. You have a lot of wands in this reading, and interestingly enough, when the 9 of Wands popped out, I literally saw the 10 of Wands from this deck, and it's the third card to pop out. So, and I know I didn't like see it, I guess, if that's even a word. I know I didn't see it incorrectly in my mind. Like in my mind's eye, 10 of Wands popped up. So let's just start with the 9 of Wands first, because the Tarot's telling us what's going on here. The Tarot's like getting me situated and trying to figure out what your energy is all about right now. So the 9 of Wands is guarded. So perhaps intuitively you feel called to be on your guard at this moment in time because you have the High Priestess as well. Before we get into the High Priestess, though, because I just feel like you're leaning heavily into your intuition this week. Perhaps you feel the need to guard your heart or guard your activities from those close to you or from those that are close by, I'm hearing. So perhaps people that you work in close vicinity with, you're just like, no, like I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not going to... Okay, so I just heard like healing is taking place. So perhaps you're not putting yourself on display or you're not quite putting yourself out there because you are taking the time with yourself. It's not that like you're worried that they're going to hurt you or anything. Like I don't feel like there's like a need. I don't think there's an external event that's happening. It's just perhaps you need just the space in itself. And you can't really expend energy on others right now because you're trying to take that time to heal for yourself. Okay, the High Priestess is like you're being intuitively called to do this. You're just heavily relying on your intuition, and if you need a break, you need a break. You're listening to it. I just heard listen to it. So if you're not listening to it, like if you're the type of person that like, because I sometimes I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and then I'll go, fuck my intuition, excuse my language, but I'll say, whatever, like, you know, forget this intuition, I'm just going to do whatever it is that I feel like doing, whatever's going to make me comfortable. Because sometimes I am in one of those moods where I'm just like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to do whatever it is that I feel like I need to do in that moment, even if I know that there are karmic cycles driving me to make mistakes. But This does feel like a week where it's easy for you to follow your intuition. I feel like that's not really the vibe. If you're usually the type of person to do that, I feel like for whatever reason, it's just easy to slide on into with your intuition and go, okay, this is what I need to be doing. Ten of Wands. So I just heard, for some of you, this could be something about like your hard work ethic, but something's just telling me, like with the Ten of Wands, it's almost like you're taking on too much, and because you've taken on too much in the past, that's why you're guarded now. It's because you're realizing that you have a very heavy workload right now, and you're like, okay, let me try to dial back on that. And maybe like the goal for you isn't to dial back so much as, you know, you're just in that part of the cycle where you put forth a lot of effort and then you're coming back to heal, and then you go back and put forth a lot of effort and then you come back to heal. I do feel like I just heard this is a temporary condition, so this probably isn't going to be like that forever for you, Aries. But whatever it is, you've been working hard, you've been really like trying to drive it in, and you're trying to take a step back and, you know, keep your cards close for whatever reason. I'm not sure why you're keeping your cards close. Specifically with the Seven of Wands coming out, I do feel like you're a little bit on the defensive. Usually it's an offensive energy, but in this particular deck, I do feel as if you're just working on defending. You are keeping, I'm hearing, like, I don't know if you heard, I'm hearing brakes squealing in the background right now. And it's almost like you are putting the brakes on things so that you can take into consideration other aspects of your life, trying to get other things balanced. You have the King of Swords here. You're getting your mind on straight as well. King of Swords. This is actually the Sire of Swords, which is the equivalent of the King of Swords in the traditional tarot. I just feel like, you know, you are of sound mind at this time. I always feel that when we get kings and queens, you're just in an energy where you are situated in that aspect. And the swords run the mind, our thoughts, our beliefs. You have something that you're working with all of these fire energies present. This could be like a passion project that you're working with, or you could just be dealing with a lot of intense energy at this time, because fire is that suit of intensity. But the King of Swords does feel very, or the Sire of Swords, I don't know, I just feel like you've been through it, you've transformed, because he does have a purple butterfly on his finger. I don't know if you can see it, or on his claw rather. Up here, he has a purple butterfly. He's been through the transformation. He's witnessed that change, that transformation. He is able to help and guide others through that change as well, based on what he has learned in the past, because he himself has been the butterfly at one point. He himself has transformed and has actually gone through the process already, so he can actually assist others with that process. Too. So that just seems to be like the general energies present, but overall I feel like that High Priestess card is something that is like the most imperative thing. The Ten of Wands does tell me the situation of perhaps this is just talking about like a workload thing, but the High Priestess feels like the intuition is carrying you through. It's almost like you are relying on unseen forces and you're tapping into your intuition to help, like, these unseen forces are coming in to help and rebalance things, and you're just giving them the time to do that. Like, you're quite literally stepping back, putting the brakes on it, stepping back from people and situations that could potentially cause ache within you, like emotional ache, so that way you can heal from those situations. So the main thing the main, I guess, theme, we'll say, for you is in the hand. The universe is your partner. So Spirit doesn't want you to struggle. So if you feel like you're struggling and you feel like the universe is working against you, they don't want you to struggle. And that's something that I'm hearing, that's something that they want you to really keep in mind here, is that I'm hearing that you can't keep time the way that you've been keeping time. The way that you've been doing it, that you can't keep time the way you've been. And by that, I don't know if you've been comparing your timeline to other people's timelines, or you're comparing what you have or don't have versus another person's things that they have or don't have, or things that you've accomplished. I just heard there's a staggering difference. So there could be a staggering difference between the way that you are living or the things that you have accomplished or whatever compared to somebody else. And I just heard there's a staggering difference. So there could be a staggering difference between the way that you are living or the things that you have accomplished or whatever compared to somebody else. And, you know, They gave me instruction for how to speak. I'm just not sure if the words are coming to me as fluidly as I would like. I think it's incredibly difficult to watch somebody else have the things that you want. It's very painful because we were all dealt different hands, and you can justify that as much as you want, but when it all comes down to it, there does feel like a lack when you see someone else having something that you want. And I don't think it's going to be like this forever. The things that you want can come to fruition, but I don't even get the sense that this is traditional jealousy, though it could be. I just feel like perhaps you're just really hard on yourself, and maybe that is what is propelling this 10 of Wands energy. I know there's there's a message that Spirit can come through with. As a human to human, I will say that the situation is hard to judge from your perspective, and I'll say that it's not an easy emotion to deal with when we feel like we're quote unquote behind everybody else, or we're behind like our vision for the future. We want it to just come now. We want it to be here now. And I don't even want to say the most classic example of like, oh, like, you know, when you're on Facebook or something, you're only seeing a snapshot of their life. Because that is true. You are. But I'm sure that you've heard it enough to where you're sick of hearing that. They're saying something about stakes. And I don't know if just like the stakes in your life were just more different than the other person's. Perhaps you've had to undergo lessons that other people have not. And this isn't like meant as a burden, because I'm getting the sense that this has felt burdensome to you, and you're thinking, well, why me? It's almost like you are judging yourself too harshly because you're looking at what other people have, and you're like, why haven't I earned that yet? Why don't I have that yet? What do I have to do to get that? And you're not really looking at all of the things that you do know. There's probably a lot of deep self-work that you've had to do. There's probably a lot of situations that you've had to come out of in which you've grown so much as a person that the other person will never be able to encounter. They've probably had, like, you've probably had moments that you cherish so close to your heart that other people will not get to experience. And I'm not saying like, oh, look at what you do have, but I do feel like that's kind of the vibe here, and that just switch it up a little bit. It's different. Like, Spirit's just saying, like, it's just switched up a little bit. It's not that you can't achieve these things. It's just, again, it's just the normal thing. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you except that you're just on a different, like, things are different. You're on a different timeline. Like, I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. Because I know how much it sucks to see somebody else have what you want. And to, you know, I mean, don't kid yourself. You can have those things as well. It's just going to take you a little bit more time to get there, because there are different situations present in your life, and there are different situations present in their lives. And, you know, I mean, they could be dealing with other things during the day. They could be dealing with things every day that you have already moved past, that you're already over and done with. They could be struggling in their relationships, whereas you might not be struggling in your relationships anymore, or certain relationships, or they may not know how to navigate the work world, and yet you might have a better grip on that. So they have their own kind of stressors that, trust me, you do not want. And I just, like, I don't know. When you put it into perspective, it's like, I don't even know how to put it into perspective for you. And I really wish that message would come across as more clear. So I guess I'll just ask Spirit to, like, help me out here. Like, how can we ease that feeling a little bit? Let's see. Because, you know, don't take it from me. Broken Arrow. Embrace the energy of peace. My ear's, like, ringing. And, like, sometimes when my ears ring, my head spins a little bit. So this particular message tells me that oftentimes we get ourselves all worked up over these things that that are kind of like so Spirit's saying nonsense, but it's not like they're saying it with judgment. So what they mean by that is that it almost feels like a little bit nonsensical to get yourself worked up over something that you don't have, because you've earned so much in your lifetime. You've earned so much more. And it's not that you have more than the other person, it's just a different path. So really, if you have to actually work and exercise the mental effort to think about these things, really, Spirit is saying, especially now in a time of healing, take yourself back. What you can do is just embrace that energy of peace. Lay down your arrows, because fussing about it and being upset about it is not going to change the fact that they have certain things, or they have an image of what you want. You can still work to earn it, but perhaps you just have to work harder. But they also have to work hard for things. I just heard that you have things that they're never going to get. I don't know what those things are. That could be in terms of like they may have troubled times ahead, whereas you may not. Or they may have certain things destined for them. They have their own challenges that soul can handle, whereas you are facing challenges that your own soul can handle. Does that make sense? So really just embrace the energy of peace when you can. Embrace the energy of peace. And lay down your weapons, because there's just no need for it. And I feel like this is something that if it's resonating with you, your intuition is going to speak strongly with this message of, look, I'm just you. And you got the 10 of Wands here. Man, you don't have time. Like, you don't have time. You don't have the energy to focus on anything that's going to get you worked up. So really just relax and take a deep breath and just, oh, how does that one go? Na, 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 na. Take a deep breath. You're gonna be okay. Na 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 na. Puff out your chest. Na na na. Take a deep breath. You're gonna be okay. I don't know how the rest of that goes, but I really like that song. But anyway, let's see what else we have in the oracle for you. Bop bop bop. Get a lot going on in this deck because I mashed like 3 into 1. Let's see. You have Eyes of the Eagle, Rising Above the Fray, and you also have Mirror Guardian, Aries. Take time to reflect. So these cards, they're meant to complement one another. Eyes of the Eagle, Rising Above the Fray, is rising above a situation, looking at your place in like the grander scheme of things. Not your place in the world necessarily, but look at this moment in time as part of like a greater timeline in your life. And put your mental efforts towards the things that you feel are worth your time, basically. It's almost like, is this going to matter 6 months from now? Is this going to matter a year from now? Am I really going to care about this? And it's not so much as, you know, think of the doomsday scenario where, oh, I'm still not going to be over this like a year from now. It's just like, what are you going to be doing? What are your plans for the future? Do you see yourself working on, like, I'm just going to come up with an example from my own life just to get something out of the way, but just to give some type of, like, example. It doesn't have to be this, but for example, I see myself owning beehives and chicken coop, and I see myself working very long days, you know, I'd like to have it easy days, but to get what I want to get accomplished, I'm like, okay, well, I want to do this, this, and this, and this is how I see my day going. I'm probably going to be doing those things. I don't have those things in my life now because I don't have a set space to do it, but I do see myself someday doing that. Will I be sitting around, will I even be able to afford to sit around dragging my feet and whining about, like, I don't know, like a particular project that's not even going to last forever, and think, like, oh gosh, like, I can't wait for this project to be over, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't even have a project in my life that's it's, like, fitting that example right now, but I was like, what is, like, really stressing me out right now? So, having that, it's almost like you have built a momentum, is what Spirit is saying right now. You've built a momentum, but it's almost like needing to slow down for a little bit. Instead of, you want to power through, and Spirit's kind of telling you to dial back a little bit. I mean, it's okay to do your own thing. You do what you feel called to do. But you should be feeling this into your intuition and understanding, okay, my guides are saying for me to slow down. And taking the time to reflect with Mirror Guardian, this is going to help actually promote your inner peace, is not only seeing yourself in the grand scheme of things, you know, but, and like, you know, thinking just like in my example, am I going to be focusing on this thing that is stressing me out so much right now? Or am I going to be, you know, actually getting up and working around my house and, like, doing, like, the beehive and the chicken coop stuff and, you know, doing my work for the day and just enjoying my life, you know? So you have a busy bee energy that you kind of need to like chill out from, you know, just like taking a break from that. And so with the Mirror Guardian paired with it, putting things into perspective, as I just said before the Eyes of the Eagle showed up, the Eyes of the Eagle is taking like, it's almost like zooming out to take a closer look at what's happening right now and taking the time to actually figure out how things are working in your life, taking that time not only to heal, but to reflect so that you are not reacting to these situations in the same way that you've been reacting, so that you don't give away unnecessary energy, because that energy is important for your growth. That energy is important for like your, it's like, it's important for your skills, but I feel like something coming through about your habits might not be sustaining in the long run. So if there's like a mental habit to keep checking in with energies that aren't good for you, then now is the time to assess that. Okay, we have, lastly for these oracle cards, we have Sky Dancers, Surrender, and we have Blessings and Abundance. So quite literally, I see this as a step-by-step method for like your next steps forward. Sky Dancers, Surrender, quite literally just release things that are out of your control. I'm hearing that if there are sufferings that are revolving around not knowing what's coming next, surrendering those, it's like an attitude. It's a whole attitude that Spirit is asking you to take on. So it's incredibly difficult, but I know you can do it, Aries. It's almost like I hear something about fussing about the future or fussing about like a particular like something in your current life. And Spirit wants you to just kind of like dust your hands from it and then just let it go. Truly surrender. You've been through remarkable experiences, or something recently has been a remarkable experience. It might not have felt very good. It might have actually been bad, but it might have felt bad. But spiritually, it was a remarkable experience for you to learn. And Spirit is kind of enveloping you with so much love. As soon as you surrender, you will start to feel that feeling of blessings and abundance that are coming to you, because I just heard like, which path are you going to take? And sometimes we can choose to sit in this energy. And I hate to say it, but it's a choice. Where we put our mental energy, as difficult as it is, I will admit, it is more difficult for others. Like, it is more difficult for me to turn my attention to things that bring me joy. It is more difficult for me than other people because of, like, mental health and, like, you know, childhood programming and all this other stuff that I'm sure so many other people struggle with as well. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here, is that, you know, quite literally just taking the time to just breathe. And I just heard like, let the Lord in, or let your guides in, basically. Let in Spirit, let them let them handle your affairs, and let nature work its shit out, okay? Because like, you can't be, it's apparent to you that, I feel like it's apparent to you that you will succeed, or it's apparent to you also that, you know, this is only temporary, but it's hard to see beyond it sometimes because we're so stuck in it. But quite literally feeling like this joy, peace. I feel like the overwhelming sense of calm comes with this card, Blessings and Abundance. This doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect, but I do feel things like, for whatever reason, it's coming with the feeling of things falling into place. So if things have been incredibly hectic for you, I do feel that just letting the pieces fall where they may is something that's actually necessary at this time. Taking a step back, let the pieces fall where they may, and then like, it will feel for you like everything's falling into place and things won't feel as confusing or as disjointed. Okay, lastly, Aries, we have 401 for your angel numbers. We're pulling from Kyle Gray. Let yourself be sustained by the love and presence of God. You are not alone. One more time, let yourself be sustained by the love and presence of God. You are not alone. So again, God in whatever form you see it, the universe, love, your guides, whoever you connect with, it doesn't have to be the religious God, okay? So that being said, I do feel like this goes hand in hand with that surrender card. So quite literally just letting Spirit in. As I've been saying, let it in, let them in. They want to help you and they don't want you to suffer, and you don't have to feel like you're doing it alone. Let them send you signs in your dreams. You know, record your dreams in a dream journal. Let them speak to you through meditation. Even just sitting in peace and silence. If you see angels or your spirits in signs and synchronicities, in looking at the clock and seeing triple numbers, and looking outside and looking at the birds chirping and flying from branch to branch, or power line to power line, wherever you're living, you know, even feeling the waves on a beach. However it is that you see, it's in everything. Spirit is in everything. We walk with spirit every day, and a lot of people don't know it. So, anywho, I opened this for a reason. Let me take a drink. That, Aries, is your reading. Thank you so much for your guides, your angels, and my guides and angels, and all the spirit energies involved for helping me channel this message. And of course, as always, if this resonated with you in any way, go ahead, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if that so calls to you. All of the things, that way you can keep up to date with me and my okay, sorry. I'm hearing like comments from spirit as I'm talking, and it's not relevant to the reading anymore. But anyway, I'm launching a Patreon soon, so all that good stuff. So I am posting things. So yeah, I love you. I love you. I love you. I wish you nothing but the best week. Take that time to heal, Aries. I'll see you next time. Bye. Na, 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 na. Take a deep breath. You're gonna be okay.